Hello and welcome to the DC Stewart Show Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Stewart, along with my kinfolk on a Monday morning. It is a great Monday morning. I got my kinfolk Isaah here with me. I got my kinfolk Najee here with me. And guess what, folks? We had a wonderful weekend. We don't know about you. We hope you did, and the ones that enjoyed it with us. We're so happy you joined us because we had a little pre-tailgate party where we were eating barbecue. By the way, I ate the rest of the barbecue last night, by the way. I finished it off. So anyway, I know Isaiah was giving me all kind of grief. And the last time I did barbecue was probably about 6-7 months ago. So it was nice to be able to eat barbecue from Woody's Barbecue here in Los Angeles. Woody's got several different locations here. If you ever get a chance to visit Los Angeles, I would highly suggest you visit Woody's. They have them all over, so you can Google it and go from there. It is a Monday morning. It is October 7th, 2025, and we're here to go down the list with all of the sports events this weekend. We got some hard-hitting Andy Brown topics today. Isaiah is looking pretty sharp with the shirt on. He still's got the University of Miami hat on because that was such a big win for Miami. It was such a big change of dynamics for the program in the sense that I believe they have arrived now, and we'll talk about that today. And it looks like they're going to be facing off against Georgia Tech. If they're on a collision course with Georgia Tech, so they're going to know what to do with Georgia Tech. I'm confident of that. So we'll go from there. I'm going to bring in Isaiah real quick. How you doing, my brother? It's all about the you.
Had me dancing all week, man. Dancing. I was so anticipating this game. And Saturday, the Canes went into the freaking stadium in Tallahassee and did their thing. They handled business, man. And this is what I was looking forward to see whether they had arrived, man, because this is one of the rivals of the country, the Florida State and the U. That rivalry is super, super intense. And all the alumni came out. Michael Irvin, my dog, man, this dude was out there being animated with his fluffy hair, looked like a little French poodle. And man, he did his thing. He was beating on the bricks out there with a belt, giving them a good whooping. And listen, man, this is what it's all about. College football, this is what it's really, really all about. You know, the memories of these games in the past, and everybody come and bring all the goods, and it was the best team that won that game, even though the Canes demolished them in the first couple quarters. The third quarter they kind of act like, oh man, we got this thing handled. And
they let up off the accelerator, I think. Especially on
ultimately
offense.
Ultimately, they won that game, but bro, it was a scary situation at the tail end of that game. But college football at its best, we covered that game. We enjoyed every minute of it. We had a nice online tailgate party with the ribs and the broccoli and the soup and the Pepsis, and it just was a beautiful situation, man. And our colleague and then our humble friend Najee and Ken folk
and Freebird Tony. We had Tony online with us, and Tony was participating. And by the way, thank you, Tony. We welcome you if you're with us today. We're glad to have you aboard again today on a Monday morning if you are available. But we thank you for this weekend for sure.
Yeah, man, it's amazing, man. This is what it's all about, man.
Absolutely.
Enjoy these moments, man, and it was beautiful. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we got some friends, man, who was like hating, calling us convicts of trying to rehash that crap back in the '80s and the '90s. And you know what? Ultimately, they came up there and gave me congratulations because you know how adamant I am about these Hurricanes, man. They call me and say, "Listen, congratulations, Isaiah, you guys are the best." And I kind of really respect that because they didn't go away as sore losers, saying that it was taken, it was this, and having excuses. They gave me my props, and guess what, man? I can shoot these things down to the Coral Gables to the coaching staff and all the players down there, man, and because they went up there and handled business. DC and Najee, yes.
Yes, sir. So how about you, Najee? How was your weekend?
I mean, you already know what we did Saturday. Saturday was crazy, man. When it
Yes,
came
sir.
to the energy and atmosphere of the game, and just like when we was talking about the Canes was going to have to handle business, but I always feared the second half because I'm like Isaiah already mentioned that FSU don't lay down, but guess what? The Canes had to play around in the second half. So I mean, and then of course Sunday was a lot of upsets, but I know a lot of people lost some money on yesterday. A lot of people, because there was a
On the
lot of teams that
NFL
wasn't supposed to
in the
lose
NFL
yesterday.
games
Yeah, on
yesterday,
the
correct?
NFL, a lot of people was not supposed to lose. Yes, yes.
Not
Nobody,
me. I
a lot of people was
remember
not supposed to
that.
lose yesterday. Like the
Yeah,
Bills. The Bills was not supposed to lose to those Patriots, man. They
yeah,
was not.
yeah.
Stephon Diggs was snapping. He caught 10 receptions out of 12 for 146 yards. Like he snapped last night.
Well, the brother was possessed. It looked like he was just kind of letting the Buffalo Bills know that you let go a diamond in the rough. I mean, technically, he's got age on him and everything, but he's still got a lot of athletic
Mhm.
ability left, I think. And
I mean, but he's not that old though. So
yeah, I mean, he's been in the
especially
league for a little
how
while.
everybody
That's
take,
kind of what I'm
especially
referring
how
to.
everybody take care of their body now. I mean, the age is not what the age used to be 10, 15 years ago. So you're able to last longer as long as you take care of your body.
Right, right. So yeah, to tell you a little bit about my weekend, I had a really good weekend as well. I got a lot done. That Saturday was just off the charts. We're going to be doing a lot more Saturdays like that for college football season, and it's nothing like college football. College football to me it separates itself from the NFL in a lot of ways. To get up on a Saturday morning when it's fall, because it's getting cooler here in LA. We're waking up in the morning to like mid 60-degree temperatures, which is no unusual a little bit, but it's usual for the time of year that we're in. I had a good day yesterday. Every day I wake up above ground, I'm happy. Every day I wake up above ground and can see the people I love and the people I cherish in my life, I'm very happy. And it's just about maintaining everything, and consistency is everything as well. So one thing is for sure is you have a goal in life, stick with it, don't give up. We're having fun on this channel. For people who take it more serious than us, we do take our topics of conversation serious, but we are having fun here. You want to come have fun with us, we consider you family. Come have fun with us, because
Where the
that's what we're
party's at,
here to
DC?
do. That's what we're
That's
here
where
to
the
do.
party's at.
This is where the party's at. So Annie Brown's got some kick butt topics today that we're going to be talking about. And where the party at? You just talked about a party. We got a party on Monday morning, October 7th,
Right here.
right here. Right here. So let's get this party started and kick off a quick recap of the Miami Florida State games. So Isaiah, I'm going to start with you. How did you see Miami the first half versus the second half, and how did you rate them overall for the game? Because I know they had some meltdown in the second half. So tell us a little bit about what you observed.
Well, they came out with great game plan, on both sides, every facet of the game, really. Um, Special teams was on point. Offense was driving up and down the field. The defense was just flat out relentless, man. They had that quarterback of Florida State, these
Tommy
the ones who
Castellanos.
always go.
Tommy
Castellano was
Castellanos.
running for his
Castellanos.
dear life. Tommy was running for his dear life, man. It was like Tom and Jerry. He was taking off running, man. And that's what they needed to do for him, because he's elusive, he's fast, he can throw the ball accurately, and he showed that in many games this year where he can hurt you. In the University of Miami, my Canes took care of that business. They handled that business. They kept them at bay in that first two quarters. The third quarter now was a whole lot different. They didn't use that high intensity level of tackling. They act like they was out of position sometime, which they still made some, great tackles, but they will allow, FSU to get back in the game, which I just was going crazy about because they just handled them in such a manner where seemed like you were more of a superior team. But to let it go the third and fourth quarter where they started scoring touchdowns instead of that one field goal that they had in the first drive of the game, it got scary. But the University of Miami kept their poise and they pulled that game off. But I can see the Canes running the table. I don't see any if they can play that level of play that first half that they played this weekend. Nobody can beat them, man. Nobody, even Ohio State, which is number one right now. The Canes will win this thing out if they continue to play like that because it just showed the amount of progress they've made in the last few years, DC and Najee. And I was so glad to just watch this team play with that type of leadership and the body of work that they endured. In the last 4 or 5 years, they didn't have that game tackling like they are doing now, and the downfield blocking and the catching after the run after the catch where they run in for touchdown. This is good to see. I mean, it's great for college football to watch these type movements on this team for the University of Miami. Yeah.
Absolutely. So here's the deal, and I'm going to go to Najee because Najee, you know football. I mean, you know basketball, but you know football as well. And I'm very confident that you can give me an idea, where did the game start to change? I mean, and we're talking specifically about second half because Miami pretty much dominated the first half. At what point did you see the momentum start to shift?
Well, me personally, when I say that, I don't care what type of level of defense you play, you can't play 100% the entire game. And I think when they started to have to punt the ball a lot because they wasn't fluent no more. CJ Danes wasn't getting the ball anymore. You had they was getting stopped when they run. So when they did that, guess what? Your defense on the field more. Your defense on the field more. They wear down more. When they weigh down more, guess what? Now you're stuck because you're not moving the ball, and then you can't stop anybody no more. Now, me, how I feel about Carson Beck, he's good. And what I didn't realize that he's already turning 23. So the Canes gonna have to figure out their quarterback situation next season. So
That's right.
if they're gonna go undefeated, they need to go undefeated this year. They need to go and finish it now because I don't know who is going to be their next quarterback. Carson Beck is nice. He's really nice. I think really personally, they offense need to continue to the steamroll in the second half. They can beat on Ohio State, but the thing is, Ohio State know how to score both halves of the game, not just one half.
That's a good point. And here is the thing. I mean, Miami has got the most complete team in college football right now. I've seen a lot of other teams
really do.
play.
They're well balanced between offense and defense. They really are. But the thing is, they're not balanced in the second half, which will wear down your defense.
Right. And see, when they're playing better teams, and the competition is going to only get better in the next coming 4 weeks going into November. The competition level is going to inch itself up a little bit. And if you look at Miami's schedule right now, they have another bye week. So they've been fortunate enough to have 2 bye weeks this year, which they have 2 weeks to technically prepare for their next opponent, which is going to be Louisville. And Louisville will be coming into Miami. Louisville is not going to beat Miami in Miami. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there right now. I'm going to put my reputation on the line. Louisville is going to go down there and get handled. That's what's going to happen to Louisville. I don't see anything changing for Louisville other than they're going to go down to Miami and get handled. So on top of that, they play Stanford. They play SMU. Thereafter, they play Syracuse. They play NC State. They play Virginia Tech, and they play Pittsburgh. Undefeated season. The only thing I'm looking at now is they are going to be representing the ACC in that championship game, and more than likely they're going to face off against Georgia Tech and Haynes King. Georgia Tech and Haynes King, they've had an extraordinary year so far. They're undefeated as well. But if you match the two teams up, in my opinion, Georgia Tech doesn't match up against Miami, especially in the skill position area of play, where you have those two wideouts that Miami have. You have Daniels and you have Tony. These are two freshman wide receivers. Miami's got a good tight end. They got Mark Fletcher Jr. back there. I mean, and Carson Beck, like you say, that's an experienced quarterback. And that hulking offensive line that Miami has, I see them moving undefeated into the ACC championship, which, by the way, would be the first time they played in the ACC championship. In fact, if they get there in the conference history for Miami, because Miami came out of the Big East. They played up in the Big East when they were all of those championship teams and all of those dynamic decades that they had. They were up in the Big East, and then they came into the ACC. This will be the year for them to go ahead and dominate all the way through to get to that national championship game. They got everything that they need to do it, as long as they stay injury-free throughout the rest of the season, especially to areas where they're skill position players and, you know, offensive line, defensive line. And Bain had Tommy Castellanos running around back there, like you said, him and that defense. Mesidor, he's another one that I can name, the linebacker from Miami. They got some dogs on that defense. So it's going to be very interesting to see this year play itself out, and we're going to be excited to cover it. The next Miami game, we'll cover that one as well. But technically, Texas and Oklahoma is going to have that Red River rivalry coming up this coming weekend, and that's going to be interesting because Oklahoma is still undefeated and Texas has dumped several games, so, and they've come completely out of the top 25. Which leads me to this. Let's move on to the next Annie Brown topic and talk a little bit about that Texas-Florida game this past weekend. Tell us a little bit about it, Isaiah. What did you see? I know you commented on Saturday about, you know, certain dynamics on Texas's offense, mainly Arch Manning. But Arch Manning can't do it all by himself. So give me some other dynamics that Texas lacked in that they didn't show up with Florida.
Well, you know, I said this, you know, several times now, where Archie Manning has gotten a little bit too much hype on him. He's not as good as folks been saying. He's got a name behind him, recognition, and that's about it. He's not that good. He's average. And we all know it's a team sport and he can't do it by himself. But I knew the way Florida defense played, it was going to even disrupt his play. You know, the way he throws the ball, the way he runs, all that. He had a couple runs out of the pocket that looked pretty good, and I didn't even know he had that much speed. But that wasn't everything. You know, Florida had something for them. They had their number, and Arch and his team came down there. Sarkisian came down with his chest stuck out, and looking at the other sports commentaries like the Sabins of the world and all of them rooted for Texas to come in there and beat Florida. But I just had it in my gut that it was no way. And I watched Texas play this year. I knew they wasn't going to beat Florida because I seen the way Florida's defense played, and especially with Legway. Is Legway got his way, they could be a better team because so long as he can move the ball, the defense can hold their own because their defense is pretty solid over in Florida. They got a legit defense.
Oh, they definitely have a legit defense. They showed that in the Miami game. Yeah.
Of course they did. Yeah. And that's why I said I knew that Texas wasn't going to come out of there with a win. So Texas really got some soul searching to do right now because, you know, where they were ranked in the beginning of the season and now they dropped two already, and which is a six week of the collegiate season. So they got a long way to go. They sure got a long way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it looks like Arch, you know, there's the internet lit up pretty much Saturday night, and they've been talking about it the entire weekend about whether Arch should be on the bench. Now, there has been mention that there was an injury involved, and I'm kind of looking into that now as we're talking to see what type of injury that there could potentially be. This is an alleged injury that Arch had, but it looks like they have a senior on the depth chart named Matthew Caldwell, and he transferred from Troy to Texas. Najee, do you think they should sit Arch Manning down right now for any reason, for whether he's injured or whether he's just not really measuring up to the task?
I mean, it depends on their. Well, of course, it depends on health wise, but your expectations that also plays a part too. If they expect to be somewhere, then yeah, bench him. But if they want to build with him, have him to have go through growing pains, or actually have experience in the game and actually go through him, then of course you gotta let him play it out, because that's the worst thing to do for any starting position in any sport, is to bench them when they struggle. Let them go through the struggle and let them figure it out. That's the best way you can do it. But if they don't believe in them, and if they have other goals behind it, then bench them.
Yeah.
Well, Sark would have a tough, he would have a tough time kind of coming to a conclusion. I think this is my own personal opinion about Sark. I don't think it's even in the question that he's going to put Arch Manning on the bench. Sark is going to keep Arch Manning in there. They're just going to keep going down the road that they're going down, and they're going through, I guess, a growing pain. He was a second string quarterback to Quinn Ewers for the longest of time, and Quinn Ewers was injured. Arch never really got in there to play against top-notch competition. He came into games when either they were up quite a bit in the score, or he came in the game right at the time that, technically at the tail end of the game, when they put guys in and they let them play just to give them some reps. So me personally, I don't think it's even a question that Manning is going to go to the bench for any other reason other than injury. I really do. And we'll see what happens with Texas. They come and fell completely out of the top 25. So at 3-2. At 3-2, they are no longer even in the top 25. They started out the preseason ranked number 1. Would you believe that? They started out number 1 preseason. And Penn State was right behind them, number 2, and Penn State just exited the top 25 as well. And we'll talk a little bit about Penn State. One thing is for sure, Billy Napier did a good job for Florida, preparing those kids to play, getting them motivated, getting them fired up to not let Texas come into the swamp and beat them. That just wasn't going to happen, because Florida's got a really good running game, and they got a really good quarterback with Lagway. I think Lagway is a good quarterback. He just got to kind of get over some of these little nagging injuries he's gotten over the past year or two. But once he gets over that, he's a very good quarterback that could stand in the pocket and he could deliver. And when he needs to run, he can run. So anyway, we'll cover Texas a little bit. Let's move on, since we have Penn State in our conversation. Let's talk a little bit about Penn State. Historically, Penn State is a very legacy program. I mean, Penn State was coached for almost 40 years by Joe Paterno. And Penn State was looked at as one of the top programs in the country for centuries. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to go and say centuries. I know decades, they run in 10-year dynamics. They run in 10-year intervals. But Penn State has been competitive back as far as I can remember since the 80s, when they end up beating Georgia in a bowl game, and they had Tar Blackledge at quarterback back then. And they've had a good program. They've constantly kept good athletes coming into that program. And it looks as though James Franklin is the current coach for Penn State. And I don't think James Franklin has done a bad job. So let me be clear. James Franklin has not done an awful job. And he's not done awful enough to me to get him fired. Although there are rumors swirling around the program and around the people who support the program and the fan base that they want James Franklin gone. So, Isaiah, give me one reason why James Franklin should be gone, in your opinion, if in fact he should be gone.
Well, people just love winning, DC. They love it. And when you lose, they jump to conclusions really fast. They don't even look at the fact that you got some players hurt and you ain't got your full strength. They don't look at stuff like that. They look beyond all of that stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, he have quite a few players injured. I'm not even making excuses for that because there should be a dynamic where you have the next man step up and you continue to win. And that's what it's all about. And you groom the guys right behind you so it won't be that certain degree of let off when a starter goes down. So I'm not making excuses for him. People are just so short-minded. They want to see a win after a win.
Oh,
after
he's been a
win,
consistent winner every year he's been there. He got them to the playoffs last year, and they were one game short of coming up to the national championship, right?
What have you done for me lately, man? They don't know about that. They ain't thinking about that. They're not looking for what happened last year. They're looking at the presence and beyond. They're not looking at what happened last year. Even if he would have won a national championship, look at what happened to Florida State a couple years ago when they went undefeated. And then the next year they was laying eggs and eggs and eggs.
They went from undefeated to defeated for 13 straight games, or up to 13 straight games.
Norvell, they were trying to. Norvell was about to get canned, bro. Yeah. They were talking about bringing Dion in there to play. They were bringing everybody's name up to replace him, and the guy had just, like, from the skin of his teeth, went to the national championship. So people don't really look at that long-term stuff. They don't even look at a glitch. If you have a glitch, I mean, they can get used to losing if you are already losing. Like for instance, my Dolphins down here are getting their rear end handed to them. They lost a 17-point lead yesterday, and people are not calling to fire that coach and get
You're talking about Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, they're not really calling for his head yet. I mean, because we always look for something high, and then when it don't happen, it just don't happen because our team has been rocking so long. We just want football here. And I mean, just to see a beautiful uniform like they came in with all that black on, it was beautiful, and they just gravitate to stuff like that. But people in other places, when they're accustomed to winning and you start losing, it's the same thing with Alabama in the first part of the season. They dropped the game. They want to short order that damn coach out of there. You know, DC, they was calling for his head, and then he turned around to beat a good elite team, and then it all goes away. So long as you can continue to win, even every now and then. And then one thing I'm going to tell you right now, Prime got his issues over in Colorado, and he's dropping them like right and left, man. And he brought up some health issues over a press conference, the post game last week or Saturday, and he brought up some things that he's going through. But it's going to be soon that they're going to start asking what's going on with Prime too, because he already done set the standard where he started winning, and that's all they want to see. They're not looking for all of this. Shador and Hunter and Shallow is gone. They're looking at to continue to move forward, bro. And that's the way life is with sports. They want to see a consistent wins on your winning column. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that was well stated. And, you know, the one thing about James Franklin I can say is he recruits well, and he recruits good kids to come up in there. So here is his record overall is 104-42 in 12 seasons as head coach. He's got a Big Ten record of 64-33 in conference play, and his bowl record is 8-7 in bowl games. However, when you come out to California against a team that has not won at all this year, I mean, UCLA was 0-3, or I believe they were 0-3 or 0-4, excuse me, or something like that. You come out here and you lay an egg against UCLA, which could happen. Now, here's my thing. Najee, what do you think Penn State should do to correct their season? Because they're no longer in the top 25 right now. What do you think? What's your assessment of that?
Well, I ain't gonna just say just to get rid of no coach like that, because if he's been very consistent and he just having a bad, you can't tell me somebody be good for like 20 years and then have one bad season, but like, oh, he fell off, we got to get rid of him, bro. They just want to get back to the board because they might have. I say I don't know the squad on that team. Do they have a lot of freshmen? Do they have a lot of sophomores? Like maybe they just don't have that that personality they need out there with the experience. That's could would it be what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go here and then I'm gonna dip back. I think the quarterback situation with James Franklin, he needs to look very deep into how he recruit quarterbacks, because he technically, over the past at least 5 years that I've seen quarterbacks in that program, he's recruited drop back style quarterbacks that could stand there into the shotgun and they can throw. However, they don't have that additional athletic ability to be a threat to a defense. To make a defensive coordinator have to sit and have to game plan around him as well as the rest of the offense, because Penn State's got two really good running backs, and
Maybe he
they
need to
have
shop around
some
from another
decent
school.
receivers as well. But
Maybe he need to shop around from another school, because just like with Carson used to play for Georgia. So
Carson
so the
Beck.
Canes,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the thing. You need to get him in the portal.
So what I'm saying, if he didn't come from Georgia, do the backup quarterback right now can hold the same weight that Carson does right now?
I don't think so.
He might shop
I
around
don't
from a
think
different
so.
school.
I don't think so, Najee, simply because of the experience Carson Beck has. Carson Beck has started at Georgia for a couple years and then he came here. So the University of Miami
Exactly.
backup quarterback would have been younger. So they wouldn't have had that same type of talent at the starting position at quarterback. You was going to have a younger quarterback who's feeling his way around, who's learning. Carson Beck is a seasoned quarterback who's been there. He's been through the big games. He understands the crowd control and all that type of stuff. He know how to block out the noise and the distraction. The quarterback that's behind him has not been through that before. So you're right about it. It would have been a drop off, and he fit like a glove here in Miami. So that's
Like
what
a
Franklin
glove.
has to do. He has to get somebody like that. And now next year, we're going to be searching for a replacement for him at the University of Miami. And that's why I want them to continue to beat the snot out of people so they can give that backup quarterback some experience, sit Carson back down a little bit and let him relax and let that younger quarterback come in there and get some experience. Because if you remember the glory years of the University of Miami, they would go in there and maul a team down, and some of those times you got the second string will play the third and the fourth quarter because they already know the game was out of reach. So that those guys who don't start will get an opportunity to play and get the experience that they need to be starters the following year. So the portal makes it well and good for stuff like that, because that's the same thing happened to us last year here in Miami, where we got Ward to come in and he was a senior too. So that thing is a beautiful situation for a lot of teams to have that portal open up. And the ones who's not patronizing that portal, they're the ones suffering right now.
Exactly. So let me get back to Drew Aller, who's the quarterback for Penn State. Look, Drew Aller is a decent quarterback. He's not a scrub. Drew Aller has been a quarterback that's been somewhat consistent throughout his time at Penn State, but it seems like when the chips all come down to it and he has to make a play, he hadn't been able to do that. I haven't seen, and I've watched Penn State sparingly. I don't watch them every week because they're not on TV for me to see them every week. But having a quarterback that could come through in the clutch is what any program needs. I mean, you got to have a quarterback that could step up and make conscious, good decisions to make plays for his team. And it doesn't seem like he did that. The year against Notre Dame, he threw a pick when the chips were down. This year against Oregon last week, he threw a pick when the chips were down in a double overtime. That's not, to me, a quarterback that could get you to the promised land as the program and as a head coach. Now, his numbers doesn't look bad. I mean, he's right now, if you look at his overall numbers, he's got 8 TDs, 2 interceptions. He's got a 56.2 QBR, which is good. I mean, that's over half of his production. However, there has to be some point where Drew Aller has to step up, and he has to look within himself for that. I mean, you can blame James Franklin all you want. You can blame the offensive coordinator all you want, but they teach this stuff during the week, and they teach how to make decisions in terms of how a quarterback operates throughout a game. And it's different with every game because you're going to be playing different defenses and different alignments. So one thing is for sure, if he does survive, and I think it'll be over $50 million for them to buy him out, to get him out of there. And now let me just revert back. $50 million is chump change to some of those boosters. If they really want to get him gone and get him out of there, they can get him out of there for the $50 million. They'll short order him out of there.
Especially if they already have another plan. Don't get rid of him if you don't have a backup plan.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
now
they do have one if they want to.
They better have one.
He's probably been good for so long. They didn't even think of a backup plan.
DC Najee, you got to remember, it's Penn State. That's an intriguing job.
It is an intriguing job. It's a very attractive job.
Yes,
every coach more than likely would be thinking about that job, including maybe bringing one out of retirement. I could see maybe Saban even considering a job like Penn State, because he could get those kids out of the Northeast and from all over the country to make that program within a few years. They'll be back at championship level. Now, one thing I got to say, and we'll close this topic out about James Franklin. Who could replace him other than maybe a Saban or somebody like that? Who do you have in mind that could replace him and come in there and immediately turn that program into an instant contender in terms of national championships?
Well, you remember Goldarders. He's out there. He's. I mean, his hands are sweaty wanting to get back out there, man.
But is Ed Orgeron a candidate that can go in there and motivate those kids to play like that? Because Ed Orgeron actually, to me, inherited a really good team when Les Miles got short ordered out of there. He was already sitting on a championship team.
Okay, well, DC, this will be the perfect situation for him. And let me tell you why I say that. Of course, granted, he did fall. I mean, he had some jewels in his hand when he got that LSU job. But you got to remember where his pedigree comes from. You got to understand where his background comes from. You got to understand who he coached under. You know, he coached under a lot of good,
very good coaches.
Groomed him and molded him into the coach that he is. So I'm not taking that away from him, and I think that he has enough talent to go in there. See, now, it's one thing to just go out there and get a job. See, you got to realize now, and the guy won a national championship on his own. He had a good thing, but a terrible coach would even mess that up.
True.
You give a guy a team that was already groomed and polished, and if he's not a good coach, he will mess it up. And I think Ed Orgeron has enough experience and enough know-how to go in there and straighten up a program like that, especially when he's going to surround himself with a good staff. And because he's been there before, it's nothing like it's going to be a new project for him. I think he would be a really good fit for that program. And I would actually love for him to take that job if they're crazy enough to get rid of Franklin right now. And I think they need to leave Franklin alone, let him go through his bumps and bruises, because that's what it's all about. Because, I mean, whenever you get your head hit with a stone, that don't mean you just continue to let this guy go because he ran on some hard times. Because you pull that trigger on a guy, get him out of there, you bring somebody else in, and it becomes worse. And that's
a great point.
You know, a strong
and
stability.
Stability is everything for any program, and for his stability to be there as long. And I'm referring to James Franklin, to be there as long as he has at Penn State and enjoy the success that he's had at Penn State. I think they should leave him alone also, but that's up to the administrators who make the decisions. That'll be the president and the athletic director and whomever else that's got, a ton of money pumped into that program. That's the only thing I can see is they will be risking stability for the program, even if they bring a Ogeron in, or let's just say even a Saban come in, they would have to instantly hit the ground and try to reestablish some type of stability within that program to keep it to the way it is, and take it to that next level. So I'm going to read off the top 12, and then we'll move on, and we're going to shift over to the NFL. So it looks like Ohio State 1, Miami 2, Oregon 3, Ole Miss 4, Texas A&M 5, Oklahoma 6, Indiana 7, Alabama is 8, Texas Tech is 9, Georgia is 10, and LSU is 11, and Tennessee is 12. Georgia Tech is sitting right up under Tennessee at a 5-0 record. So Georgia Tech is steadily inching their way up to get into that top 12 rotation. And it'll be a showdown when they do play Miami from that point on. One last thing, too, is would it be the athletic director at North Carolina reassured all of the support at North Carolina in terms of the fans and the people who put money behind the program that, they just going through a growing pain with Bill Belichick right now. Give them time, give them a little bit of extra time to try to turn that program into a winner, a consistent winner. Do you guys think Bill Belichick is going to do anything different next year than he did this year?
I don't.
Nah.
I think
He is way too old to be trying to adapt to young kids. The kids that's young enough to be his great grandchildren, man. He's way too old for that. He can't even relate to the way how they even think processes.
And does Belichick want to put in the work? I mean, do he want to really put in serious work to get that program to where it needs to be? And I really don't see it as him wanting to put in that type of effort and that type of work to be that consistent. I mean, you're going to have to go in parents' living rooms, and you're going to have to really heavily dip into that portal, and you're going to have to dip in several other areas to get that program to where it needs to be. And it's different from the NFL. It's not anything close to the NFL of the success he had at the NFL level, So we'll sit back and watch and see what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to do much at anything at all.
Remember, on a pro level, you can delegate stuff to
assistant coaches, coordinators.
You can delegate situations to other people. Yeah, you can delegate that stuff to other people. But in college, it's different because you're dealing with a kid and his parents. And the parents want to see the face of the program 99% of the time. Even if you send one of your guys out, the recruiters out there, ultimately, to get these elite players, the parents would love to see the head person in charge, which is that head coach, and is Belichick. And Belichick is too laid back for stuff like that. He's not jumping on a plane and going all over the place. He's just this guy who barely likes to talk. Look at him. He barely talks, man. And he's not going to be going over to these places all around the country to grab these elite 5-star players. He want a phone call and that's it. And he's not going to turn this team around. I watch his body language. I'm watching these play calls. They're old, and it's just, and he's got his son running a defense, which is running 80 plays, and I just think that he's not going to accomplish too much by running this program. Clemson is like on a down spout, man, and Clemson went over there and gave them a good whooping this weekend.
They did.
Belichick really didn't have an answer for him. And guess what? That was a freaking big-time rival game. And look what the outcome was. So Belichick is probably going to step down because
I could see that as a possibility.
That's what's going to happen, DC, because whenever you have pride in winning, and if it's not coming your way too often, you're going to come to this conclusion that I need to get away from here. And money don't drive you when you feel like I want to win. Instead, you can't just say, "Well, I'm getting paid. I'm gonna just nah." It don't work like that. You want to attach some money
Mm-mm.
and winning behind it. So I think he's going to step down. My prediction is he's going to quit because he's not going to turn that team around. If he turned that team around in the next 2 years, I'm going to be severely surprised because I don't think he can do it, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised it'll be that long.
You think
No,
it'll be
I'm just
earlier than
saying
that, Najee?
if he
He
stays,
definitely
he might quit. So
in
you
two
think he'll
years.
quit in two
That's a
years,
lot of losing.
Najee?
That's a lot of
You
losing.
think
For
he's
somebody
getting
that's a
ready
winner,
to
that's a
face a
lot. That's a
losing?
lot of losing for
Yeah,
2 years.
that's a
2 more
lot of
years. That's a
losing.
lot of losing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it is, and it's coming his way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's move on over to the NFL, and we had some really exciting games yesterday. I
Yeah,
didn't get a chance to watch any of the games. I know you guys watched the game, and I'm going to start with Najee on this one. How did Buffalo end up losing to New England? What did you see New England do different that Buffalo couldn't stop? Because Buffalo, to me, has the number one defense in the NFL. I mean,
Now,
I'm not
Buffalo defense has been falling off this season. Every game, the defense is getting worse because New England, they are not bad post Tom Brady. They actually been a lot better since Tom Brady been gone. But they are not top tier for to keep running plays and not be able to not be stopped.
right.
Buffalo couldn't stop anything they were doing. They couldn't stop anything. I'm talking from pass to rush, from rush to pass. They couldn't stop anything. Stephon Diggs, he has the most targets and receptions just this past game than the whole season, man. They targeted him 12 times. He caught 10 of them. Got
yeah.
146 yards, man.
So
That was
he
almost
did
That's a
half of
say
what a
breakout game,
quarterback had
right? I
in
mean,
yards.
that's a hundred. I
As a matter
mean,
of
for
fact,
him to
yeah.
have a breakout game
No,
on
that's well.
Buffalo's defense like that.
On
yeah,
Yes, and where was it? Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, he snapped on them. They couldn't stop anything. Mind you, the first half was a slow game anyway, because I think it was like what 6-3,
Mm-hmm.
6-3 of New England. They came out of halftime. Buffalo scored first. I said, okay, finally, Buffalo they got something going, and then they really couldn't stop New England from doing anything. They couldn't stop them at all.
Right.
New England defense is actually a lot better than I thought it was. Because every time that that Josh Allen got the ball ready to throw it, and I'm like, why does he keep holding the ball so long? He don't even play like this. Then every time they show the replay, there was nobody open. James Cook was held to only 49 yards. He's gotten a touchdown every game this season except for last night, and he was getting at least 70, 80 yards per game. He had 49
yeah,
yards rushing the entire night. They held
yeah.
him down completely. He wasn't doing anything for them. And that's actually
I really
normally one
thought
of
he was gonna have a
their
good
go.
game.
That's actually their go to between him and Kincaid. That's their
Mhm.
go tos on the team.
Yeah, yeah,
So here's the thing. I mean, I could see the Patriots defense getting better and better because Mike Vrabel played defensive. He played defense under Belichick at New England. He was a linebacker for New England for quite some time, and he's really turned that team into the right direction to me. From looking at how they're playing now versus to how they were playing last year, it's like night and
Hmm.
day. Now, I prematurely said Buffalo's defense to me was number one, but they're not. Technically, Buffalo's defense is ranked number 9 in the league. So, Najee, you're absolutely correct. Look like the Cleveland Browns has the best defense in football right now, followed by the
Numbers
Falcons
wise, yes, throwing
and the
me off. Yes,
Chargers, the
I know.
Bucks, and the Texans. That rounds
Hmm.
out the top 5 for defense in the NFL in terms of pass rush and pass in total defense. So that was a little
Hmm.
premature for me to say knowing the Buffalo's defense was up into that top 5 area because they're not. And it seems like, you know, Sean McDermott, who's the coach, he's a defensive-minded coach. You would think that they could be undergoing injuries. I don't know how they've tapered off with that, with their ranking. But in the meantime, one thing is for sure is they're going to have to get better because Buffalo is they're in a class all by themselves in the AFC right now. So I thought Baltimore was going to be trailing them, but Baltimore don't look good at all. And that leads me to my next Annie Brown topic. She wants to know whether Harbaugh is going to survive this onslaught this year, losing the way he did. Anybody want to step up and answer that one?
I told you about that. I was like, this is by far Lamar Jackson's worst year, at least starting the year off. And he's gotten so many more offensive weapons, and they struggle to score at times, and their defense is horrible. I don't think I've been alive to ever seen the Ravens defense be this terrible. Like, I mean, you had CJ to score 40 plus points on y'all. Come on, man. He's not even that type of quarterback to me. He's decent. He's decent, but he's not a 40, 50 point score quarterback. No, he's not. And for your defense to allow them to score that many points is crazy. And where was it? Was it in Baltimore, right? That don't make no sense, man. It was crazy. I had to turn the game off. I was so upset.
Well, right now, according to news media outlets, John Harbaugh says he's not going to fire his defensive coordinator by the name of Zach Orr.
He need to do something.
He says he's not going to let him go. So I guess that's what a true general does. He'll go down with the whole ship, right? I mean, if the ship is sinking, he ain't going to just jump overboard on his own. He'll follow it all the way down.
When he feels like he's the head man and the guy who they want him to push out, if it's not his fault, he's not getting rid of him, because a good leader would take the blame himself, because even though that's the defensive coordinator side of the ball on defense, ultimately but the Harbaugh is the boss. He the one making the decisions. So if he's not willing to fire his defensive coordinator, that's all said and done. He's the boss. He might be satisfied with the work that he's doing. They're just losing, because it's just like you can't pressure a guy to fire him if he said he's not getting rid of him and he loves what he's doing, even though they're losing. He don't take the blame. He's not blaming it on the defense. He might blame it on himself. So you really never know what's going on in that locker room, man. And I don't think neither one of them are going to get fired. They're going to let them play out this year, and these guys are going to regroup next year and play again. And they're not getting rid of anybody. I think they're going to stay put.
And the thing is, their schedule's not getting any better, man. They got to play the Bears. They got to play the Rams. I mean, they got a soft spot when they play the Dolphins, but then they got to play the Vikings, the Browns, which is the number one defense in the league. Bro, man, they ain't gonna get any better, especially Lamar Jackson gonna remain out. It's not gonna get any better. They got too many weapons to be this sorry.
Yeah, but I could see them losing.
Zay Flowers. You got Mark Andrews. Nah, they ain't gonna lose that. But they got Mark Andrews. They got Zay Flowers. They got DeAndre Hopkins. They got Derrick Henry. They got Lamar Jackson, of course. That's too much not to be able to score.
DC.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Listen, man, when they gonna lose when they come to Miami.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how those two teams play out.
So y'all just lost to the Panthers. What a 17-point lead. I ain't gonna beat us, man.
That's crazy.
Well, let me tell you something. Let me show you how nice I am. I'm willing to put you up for the weekend, Najee. Come to my place and stay. I got room for you. Come on down here during the Ravens game. Aren't you coming to the Ravens game?
Yeah, I'm going to the game.
Okay, you got a place to stay. Come down here and get some ribs. We'll eat some ribs and stuff, and some we'll eat some ribs.
You guys you know what? You guys will eat some ribs and watch Miami lose. That's what's gonna happen.
No, I guarantee he have some real greens too when he come down here, DC.
That's okay. So here's John Harbaugh's record. He's 173 to 108 overall regular season, playoffs 13-11 for a total of 186 wins. He's a Super Bowl champion in the 2012 season, coach of the year in 2019, the second longest tenured coach in the NFL behind Mike Tomlin, technically. And he's technically the de facto general manager. They just don't stick that title to his name, but whatever he wants up in there and whoever he wants out of there is gone, or they come in or they're gone. So I don't see Steve Bisciotti.
Coordinator is safe. He's safe. DC.
I think the defensive coordinator is safe, and Steve Bisciotti, who's the owner of the Ravens, he's not going to get rid of Harbaugh. He's not going to let Harbaugh go.
They homeboys then.
They'll have to have another season like this one, and maybe even after 2 years, they will. If it rolls into 3 years of him having a down season like they're having now, that might move the needle a little bit. But beyond that, I don't think it's going to move.
They have, they got they best players got some age on them. They can't wait that long. You got Derrick Henry that's already in his 30s. You got DeAndre Hopkins that's already in his 30s. Lamar Jackson's right there. Like, bro, you don't need to be. The time is already gone, bro. They got to win now. They got to do something now. They can't be going the opposite direction at this point. Derrick Henry already don't look like Derrick Henry this season already. And you talking about more time? Come on, man.
Absolutely.
I think Derrick Henry is him. He's him, Najee. The only difference is, they're just going through their own little personal glitches in that team. And Derrick Henry has been so successful, and he's been like power driving people with that stiff arm, and people are aware of it now because they sure the hell don't want to be on the highlight reel. So they're finding ways of, being able to defend him by punching the ball out of his arms. And that's the only thing that has happened to him. He's still running the ball hard like he used to. What they're doing is game tackling him and punching the ball out of his hand. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing to him now. He's still running hard. There's a difference if he was tipping and he wasn't running hard or he lost some speed. None of that has happened. His ability has not declined yet. The only thing is they'll game tackle him, one grab him here, and the other one punch the ball out of his arm, or either if he's getting ready to go in the open field to step somebody, punch the ball out of his arm. That's it. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry still. He hasn't lost anything yet. The team has studied him and watched him, and they are finding ways to just defend him. And that's it. That's all that's happening.
I have to agree with you there.
All right, so question about that. You saying he's still him. Cool, I'll give you that. So you don't think that will make it easy on the receivers then? If we talk about play calling, you don't think it'll be easy on the receivers?
That makes it hard on the receivers, Najee, because when you don't get a running game going on, it messes up everything because you need to be able to run that ball. But I'm just telling you, as a person,
but they got great receivers.
Well, what about his line? What about his line blocking for him? Because when you get in game tackle, that means somebody's not damn blocking for you. If you got one-on-one, when you get game tackle, that means a lot of people missing blocks, bro. And allowing him to get the ball punched out, that's what's happening. He's getting game tackle and somebody reaching there and punch the ball out of his hand. While he's trying to go in there and get extra added yards, somebody's grabbing him around the leg. The other guy throw his head in there, and the next man punch the ball out. That's why he's losing these balls. Derrick Henry is not like a fumble guy. It's not like he got small hands and he fumbled the ball a lot. Every time he fumbled the ball so far, the ones I've seen, the ball was punched out of his hands. And that can happen to anybody, any running back, when a guy get the ball punched out of his hand. So,
absolutely.
That's the case. That's the deal with that.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens, but that Dolphins-Ravens game is going to be a showdown of the teams that are pretty much at the bottom of the barrel of the NFL right now in terms of their win-loss records. I do have an additional question. I was reading some information here that there is allegations and rumors that Tyreek Hill will be released at the end of the year into next season. Do you guys believe that?
No, I believe it because I saw it on Yahoo Sports. I saw that.
Yeah,
They should have traded him when they had value for him.
Is some inside source basically obviously fed that information out that the Dolphins are probably going to try to cut their losses and just move on from him. There's a distinct possibility he might end up back at Kansas City. Who knows?
When I mentioned that, they should have just got rid of him. At least you would have got something for him. I said that. I said that was the second, third game of the season.
Nah, DC. I totally disagree with that. Kansas City is not getting ready to pull him back over there. Understand something, man. You got a guy who left because he wasn't getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Now he got a bag come down here and just made a mockery of himself. Nobody knew the character of Tyreek Hill with the situation. We just know he had a bunch of babies all over the place. We knew that. That was cool. Mm-hmm. But to go out there slapping guys across the head on a boat ramp and going through these personal things with his girlfriend and then his wife and his kid, all of that family stuff off the field and getting arrested and all. Dude, I guarantee you they're not going to touch him. Now he's injured, damaged good, with a severe type of injury that he have. Who's to say you get this guy back in there and he don't re-injure that leg again? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody's seen that injury, that horrible. Injury may not heal in 1 year.
It was nasty.
That injury
it was a nasty injury.
It was turned. It was out of socket. It was ugly. And hopefully he heals. I hope the best for him. But I'm going to tell you right now, football-wise, they were just talking about karma the other day and how all of these things happen to people as they go through their thing and they got their nose so far up in the air they can't see the common guy, and all of these negative things starting to fall in his lap right now. And now his ultimate thing was football, and now he can't even play football. Now he done lost his wife and got to pay all this money out. So this is the deal, man. When it rains, it pours, bro. The thing that he loved the most is showing his talent. And guess what? He can't do it anymore right now. He's got to rehab that thing and hope for the best. Who the hell think he might have the same speed? And one of his biggest
he's already in his 30s.
That's one more thing, Najee. But one of his biggest assets is his flexibility to run and make a cut. You're not cutting on a leg like that, DC.
At the rate he does.
Yeah. And he cuts on a dime. Cuts. I mean, I've seen him literally.
He cuts on a dime, dog. Nobody does that. That's how he springs himself open so easily, because he's fast. You got to already run like a bat out of hell to catch up with him, and then this joker shoot and fool out and cut. And how you catch him, you don't. But with an injury like that, you can't do all that cutting because your leg will buckle and you will be right back in square one. So, listen, man, on a personal level, I just hope he get his health back, man, because that
you
injury.
And me both. We all hope he gets well here on this show.
Much as amputation on an injury like that, DC.
Absolutely.
I don't know whether you guys heard that. They was talking about an amputation sometime for an injury like that. I mean, technology has gotten so good now where they can repair it, but he may not be the same. You know, you really never know that until after rehab of 8 to 10 months or 12 months.
That's right.
I'm just crossing my fingers for him just to get back in shape, man. And all the off the field ranties with his ex-wife and all that stuff. I think he overcame that, but just for a guy to be healthy again, and then he could work out all the kinks with another team and all that stuff. But I will be none surprised if the Dolphins release him, because he brings so much scrutiny to the team in terms of bad publicity. And nobody want that. And the only thing saved him was his talent. Now that's questionable. So what good is it to have them around?
Exactly.
So we never know. We'll see.
Absolutely. So it looks like the NFL standings right now, it looks like New England is second in the AFC East, which is shocking to me. For the last 4 to 5 years, New England has been in the basement of the AFC East, down there with the New
Yeah.
York Jets, because the New York Jets is still down in at the bottom of the barrel, trying to work their way up. They're 0-5. And I think Aaron Glenn is going through somewhat what Dan Campbell went through at Detroit when Dan Campbell finally arrived at Detroit. When he got to Detroit,
Yeah.
they couldn't win a football game. They couldn't buy a football game, because they were just in the process of Dan Campbell building that franchise up to where it is now. And I think Aaron Glenn, if he's given time, which I don't know if he will, because Woody Johnson pulls the trigger, and Woody Johnson is the owner of the Jets. He pulled the trigger a lot of times so quick. He don't leave a coach in there long enough to really turn it around. But Aaron Glenn is a damn good coach. He was a damn good defensive coach. He was an ex-player for the Jets when he played. And it looks like they just parted ways with Steve Wilks. And Steve Wilks is a defensive-minded coach. That brother just can't get a break, man. This is like the third termination, I believe, in the NFL for him. He's been a head coach under interim, tag a couple of times, and then he gets fired the very next year. I know he was with Arizona. He was with the Carolina Panthers, and he got let go from both of them. And then he got let go from San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan let him go up there in San Francisco, and now he's been let go for the Jets. So, Steve Wilks, he's a damn good coach. So I'm kind of a little bit saddened to hear that he got let go because I guess of the Jets' fortunes right now. And maybe they attribute a lot of it to defense. But shit, the offense is just as bad as far as I'm concerned. They may need to look at everything. As far as Aaron Glenn, his observation of everything once the year is over, he's going to have to take a long, hard look at all of the areas because, like I said, he's starting out just like Dan Campbell did. So anyway, we'll wrap this show up. We're so happy to have come to you on Monday morning, you the viewer. Thank you for joining us, your family. We're going to always be here. We're going to be doing this until the end of time. We're not going anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out with Isaiah, and we'll go from there.
Hey guys, thanks for coming aboard and watching the show. It was beautiful, covering the Miami Hurricanes and FSU. Found out that some FSU fans are okay with me because they gave our team their props and congratulating us on the win. But listen, you guys, we loving this thing, what we're doing. I mean, it's beautiful to have friends to come aboard with us and rock with us on this thing. And for me personally, I got two of my favorite guys hanging out with me every weekend, so I can't ask for anything else as a blessed man. Only thing other who to add is my father.
Absolutely. And I know him well too. Yeah,
man. If I could bring my father, my little brother, and him, man, what good a man could be.
Hey, you know what?
To have something like that.
We want your little brother on the show, so I'm going to go ahead and make a formal invite to him right now. Richard, we want you on the show. So come on and talk with us about sports, man. We'd love to have you here because we're one of the few down home original as far as I'm concerned. We are just a dynamic that we're just hitting home. We're not trying to impress and get any viewers from one of these major media outlets. We're just doing what we normally do on a daily basis, and that's what's special about this show. Najee, you got anything for us today before we close this thing out?
Peace and blessings, love God, because He's definitely gonna love you. We got Kansas City and Jaguars tonight, so make sure y'all pay attention to that.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned
But
that.
the crazy thing is, Jaguars been pretty good this season. I was actually shocked to see that. So it might be a lot better than you would think it would be on a Monday. So tune in, because definitely
Absolutely. And it'll be the first time the country can see Travis Hunter play on a Monday night. And that's going to be dynamic for Jacksonville. This is a kind of a game changer. for Jacksonville, because if they can somehow find a way to win this game, that will put them back in trajectory to bring this franchise back up to where it somewhat used to be when Jacksonville was a very good team. So anyway, we'll close out. My name is Derek Stewart once again, along with Isaiah and along with Najee. We're glad to have you aboard on a Monday. We'll be doing another show throughout the week on into the weekend. Visit us on our social media. Visit us on our, Instagram. Visit us on our Facebook. We have a lot of content over on Facebook. So hit us up over on Facebook. Ton of content over on Facebook. So we'll close out and peace, love, and prosperity. Take care of your mental health, because a lot of things are going on in the world today, and a lot of people are having a lot of problems, people going through things. And if you can help a person, help them. Sometimes people are too proud to ask for help. But if you see a person in dire need, help them, or at least reach out to offer your help. And it'll come back to you threefold. So peace, love, and prosperity. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Pew.